Howdy and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing another episode of World in Flames Collector's Edition, Days of Decision 3, Combined Game Playthrough, number 3. This will be the September-October turn of 1940. Last turn we saw the end of the Civil War in Yugoslavia, and there was some little bit of sub-action in the Faroes Gap. Basically, in China, absolutely nothing happened. Part of it was because of the weather, and the other part of it was because the Japanese decided they wanted to reorganize their forces. And since it's all mountain or bad weather, every time they moved a unit, it flipped over. Okay, that being said, let's dive right in. Let's take a look at starting money. Starting money for this turn is everybody's poor. Now, Germany's starting at -5 because she was supposed to spend 4 build points on rebel Yugoslav units. So I just rebuilt 2 units. That's a total of 4, and placed them in the Yugoslav force pool. And that takes care of that. And that's why it's at -5. Okay, we've got Japan at 0, Italy at 0, the Soviets are at -2 after building their lovely fort last turn. The Commonwealth is at 0, the US is at 0, China's at 0, and Free France is at -2. Alright, let's put in bids for the various major powers, depending on what they want to do. Let's go take a look and see what we got. We have 6 bidding major powers this turn. We have the U.S. bidding 2. She got bonus bid points from last turn. The Commonwealth bidding 1. The Germans bidding 2. The USSR bidding 1. Italy bidding 1. And Japan bidding 1. Let's see how this is going to pan out on the initiative position track. So we have the U.S. bidding 2. She's getting +2 for her 5th place position and 2 bonus bid points. That's 6. That's enough to put her in first. The Commonwealth is bidding 1. She's getting a +4. That's going to get her 5. That's enough to give her second. The Germans are bidding 2 with a +2 for their 4th place from last turn. That's 4. The Soviets are bidding 1 with a +3 from their last turn position, which is a 4. And Italy is bidding 1 with a +3. It also comes out to be 4. So we have a 3-way tie. The tie will be broken by the political effectiveness, and we can see that Germany is a top dog at 6, so she will be 3rd. Thereafter, we have the Soviets are at a 4, and the Italians are at a 3, so the Soviets will be 4th, the Italians will be 5th. And finally, we have Japan bidding 1 with a +1. It's going to keep her in 6. Not going to do much for her. First last card on US, last card on Japan. The Free French will maintain their position at 7th, and the Chinese will be at 0 at 8th. Okay, now let's go see and take a look and see what the United States wants to do for a political option. The U.S. is going to offer a level 2 treaty to the Soviets. The U.S. entry will be a +4 in addition to the treaty chart. The money cost will be 4. There's some minor effects here. But we don't do any of that until we get to the Soviets' turn, and they will have to accept the treaty. Once that happens, then I can implement all these, and the U.S. can activate a minor. We don't roll to end the political phase at this point because there's a +1 to the die roll. So 1 + 1 is 2. You can't end the political phase after 1. You can't end the political phase on the first turn, basically. The first impulse, whatever you want to call it, the first turn. So, that'll move us down to the Commonwealth, and let's see what they want to do. Commonwealth is going to try for a minor alliance, and she's going to try it with Iraq. This is going to necessitate a die roll. Alright. So the modifiers are add 1 to the result for each factory, a resource marker. They have none. Add the miner's willpower. Iraq's willpower, I think, is a 4. no, I was wrong. It's a 5. So that's going to be a +5. Subtract your initiative position, which is 2, so that's a +3. Subtract the distance in hexes, and that is 2, so that's a +1. And now we have to roll anything but a 0, and Iraq is not hostile. Yes, Iraq is not hostile to the Commonwealth. So we got a +1, we got to roll better than a 0, it can't fail. No, I'll roll a 10, of all things. Okay, so the Commonwealth will sign a alliance with Iraq. I believe that is their second alliance. Yes, it will be their second alliance. And when I come back, where the UK will, or the Commonwealth will activate a minor. Back in a second. Okay, now it's time for the Commonwealth to activate a minor. And I think she's going to activate Iraq. Spent a lot of effort on Iraq, so let's go and see how this pans out. Basically have one marker. The Commonwealth marker is a 3. So Iraq is right here. Commonwealth is here. So normally a hex costs 2. There's 1 for a boundary. That's 3. But we're moving towards the major power within our ideology. So 1 is subtracted from that. So this hex will cost 2. We have 1 point left. Normally the hex costs 2, but again, we're moving towards the major power. So now the hex will only cost 1, and Iraq is now stacked with the Commonwealth. And since she has alliances with Iraq, she can align that minor. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to roll a die to see if we end the political phase. And, oh, the U.S. entry for that alliance was a whopping 1. I need to go over U.S. entry again. I don't think it's gotten to the point where the U.S. can get a second U.S. entry option. So far, they haven't even gotten there first, but got to do things one step at a time. All right, so this will be a 1. An 8 doesn't do it. We'll move on to Germany. Germany is going to play German advisors recalled. She tried to get to this several turns ago, but never panned out for her. She's going to do this basically to help out the Japanese. It'll pretty much prevent the nationalist Chinese from even thinking about attacking. There was a couple options for them the last couple of turns for 3-2 or 2-1 attacks, but they really don't want to risk losing a big chunk of their front just to kill one Japanese unit. Okay, so German advisors recalled. You can see it's going to cost 2 money. There is a bunch of minor effects here, and the U.S. entry is going to be a +2. And the nationalist Chinese will now fight using attack weakness, which means their combat factors are halved when they attack. And they must destroy 1 en-mat infantry corps. So we're going to get rid of an infantry corps as well. Okay, so I'll do that, and I'll come back in a few seconds after I take care of everything, and Germany will activate a minor. Okay, I got all that taken care of. Now it's time for Germany to activate a minor. And I think she's going to pick a Yugoslavia. So let's grab the markers, head over to the status display. You gotta remember, Yugoslavia still has a treaty with the Soviet Union. Okay, we have 1 Italian, and we have 6 German. So, let's see. It's only going to be a +1 when we're moving away from the Soviets. So, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. So this is only going to cost 2 for this X. So that'll be 2. 5, 6, 7, 8. This also is not moving any further away, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So it's going to cost 2 for the hex and 1 for the boundary. So that's going to be a total of 3. So that's 5 points. And that's just about going to do it. There's not enough. The 6 points going to get wasted. There's just not enough to move the marker any further. So that's it for the Germans. Now the Italians is a 1. That's going to pull it towards Italy. But again, we're going to be moving away from the Soviets. So it's going to be at least 2 points for that 1 hex. So the 1 point for the Italians is not enough. But we do have Yugoslavia now within the fascist ideology. Keep wanting to call them Axis. But so that's it for the Germans. Let's go over here and we'll roll a die to see if they end the political phase. There's been 2 previous political options played. So that's a -2 to the die, +1 for 5 major powers at war. So it's going to be a net +1 to the die. I'm sorry, a net -1 to the die. We're looking for a 1. Well, 6 minus 1 is 5. That doesn't do it. We will move down to the Soviets. Okay, I already know what they're going to do. They're going to play their 0F, agree to a proposal. That's that one at the bottom. And it doesn't cost them anything, no U.S. entry, and they'll agree to the level 2 treaty with the United States. Now I'll go back to the U.S. and we have to put in all the effects of the treaty that the U.S. initiated, because she's the initiating power. So that's going to be 4 money the U.S. pays, U.S. entry of +4 in addition to the treaty chart with all these minors as well. And that's also in addition to the treaty chart. So we get that all taking place and recorded, and when I come back, the U.S. will activate a minor. Okay, there really isn't a whole lot for the U.S. to activate, but she's going to activate Spain. So we can begin dragging Spain back towards us. You can see Spain way over there by the communist ideology, not a good thing. Though Roosevelt kind of sucked up to him. Alright, we got, oh, that's supposed to be gone. Okay, we got a 2 U.S. right there. U.S. is over here. This is a Spanish marker. It's 2 per hex. Just going to drag it 1. Spain has no treaties with anybody. So that'll end that. And the last thing we're going to do for the U.S. is roll a die. There have been 3 previous political options played. So it's going to be a -2 net to the die. 4 minus 2 is 2. It looks like the Italians will get their shot. Let's go see what they want to do. Italy is declaring war. She's going to declare war on the Commonwealth. It's going to cost her 5 money. There's a whole bunch of minor effects here, and the U.S. entry is going to be a +3. This is all in addition to the war chart for both. So I'm going to apply the war chart and apply all the minor effects and U.S. entry. This is declaring war, so the let's see. Yes, she does. Her PM is 3/4 or higher, so she does have that option. So I'm going to put all the effects out and record the U.S. entry. Italy will not get to activate a minor. So what I'm going to do right now is roll a die, see if she ends the political phase, or if Japan is going to get a turn. 7, yes, Japan will get her turn. So when I come back, it'll be with the political option that Japan wants to play. I'll be back in a second. Japan will be signing a minor economic agreement with Chile. Draw in 1 more Chilean resource. She does have enough convoy points for that, so I'll put those out, and as well as the +1 for signing with this specific country. There's no U.S. entry. The cost is 4 money, so I'm going to get that all taken care of. And when I come back, Japan will get to activate a minor. Okay, Japan gets to activate a minor, and she's decided to clean out Chile. So we're going to drag all the markers over here. Okay. Chile currently, oops, get my stand set up here properly. All right. Chile is currently stacked with Japan. But Japan does not have a treaty with Chile. Let's see how this is going to pan out. We have 2 Chinese. We have a 4 German. We have a 3 Japanese. We have a 2 Commonwealth. We have a 1 US and a 1 Italian. Alright, so Japan's going to start out by activating the 1 US. Well, it costs at least 2 for the hex. Well, it costs 2 for the hex. Or in this case, towards the US, it costs 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary is 3. And then an additional 1 because she's stacked with a major power that can control her. So that's 4 for that hex. So the US thing won't do it. The Commonwealth, the same case, it's going to take 4. They only have 2. China, same case, it's going to take 4 and they only have 2. Now, that's where it gets tricky. We have 4 German, 3 Japanese, and 1 Italian. Well, the Italian marker's down here. Italy cannot control Chile. So it's going to cost 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary, and it's still going to cost 4. So that doesn't do it. Now Germany, however, Germany can control Chile. But whenever they... See, if you look at the minor activation, 8.51, it says -1 moving towards you in your ideology. Well, in this case, I'm assuming that you means the activating major power, which is Japan. So, to move towards Germany, it's going to cost 2 for the hex, 1 to leave a hex that the major power can control. So that's 3. There's no ally, so it's going to cost 3 for this hex. So Chile will move there. Will actually unstack from Japan. There's not enough points for it to move any further because, again, U is Japan. So it would be 2 for the hex, 1 for the boundary is 3, and then 1 for moving away from a major power that can control. There's no -1. All right, correct. So it's going to cost at least 3. So the remaining point is useless. Now, the Japanese have 3 points in Chile. In this case, the -1 moving towards you in the ideology does apply. So it will cost 2, which is 1 point. And Chile will restack with Japan. And that's basically what Japan wanted to accomplish, was to just get rid of all those markers. So somebody can't play something funky with the Chile marker and keep Japan from either aligning it or signing an alliance with it or something like that. All right, so that's the end of that. The political phase is over. Japan was the last major power that had put in a bid. So let's go take a look at the reinforcements for this turn. This is the September-October turn. And we do have some reinforcements. I have to destroy a Japanese on-map infantry corps as well. I mean a Chinese. We have the Chungking warlord coming back in a 5-3 Chinese infantry army. The Italians are getting a carrier as well as a pretty good combat air group and a 5-3 infantry corps. I would say that combat air group is going to go right on that carrier. Yep. Yep, I would say that's probably going to happen. And let's see, the Japanese, they got a transport and a amphibious unit going in the construction pool. They're getting a militia, a little carrier, a jeep, a pilot, and a pretty good fighter. I would say that fighter's probably going to go on map, so we're just going to set the pilot aside. All right. The Americans are getting 2 pilots, a fighter, and the Nimitz headquarters. So I'll record the two pilots, one pilot, because I think the fighter's going to go on map. Get rid of that. All right. Oh, and we have a battleship going into the construction pool for the Americans, the USS Massachusetts. The Soviets have a mountain corps, an infantry army, two infantry armies, and a pretty decent, I think that's a Sturmovik, isn't it? No, it's an Su-2. That's a pretty decent tactical fighter bomber thing. I think they'll put that on map. The Commonwealth needs all the help it can get at this point. They got a territorial going into India. They got the Auckland militia, a pretty good combat air group, a second pretty good combat air group, and 2 convoy points. And again, they need all the convoy points they can get. The Germans got 2 U-boats going into the construction pool. They have a SS infantry corps, a militia, the Leipzig. We also have Rommel headquarters, Armored HQ, and a pilot. I will record the pilot, take care of that. Alright, let's go roll initiative. And then after initiative, we're going to roll weather. Alright. And the modifiers are -1 for the Soviets, 0 for the democracies, and +2 for the fascists. Okay, blue is democracies, red is the communists, and the white are the fascists. Well, the fascists they won hands down, and I think they want to go first because Italy is kind of begging to go first. The democracies have a 0. Okay, the democracies, yeah. I think the democracies want to go last. They're going to push the communists into the second slot. The democracies are hoping the turn ends on the fascist impulse so they can gain a +1 on the initiative modifier. They would like that very much. I think that's going to do. We got to roll weather. Okay, this is a September-October turn. The fascists will be throwing a die for the weather. Let's see what we get. All right. September-October. There's no modifier. So that's this column right here. And a 9. I don't think 9 is all that great, is it? Oh, yeah, it's crap. Storm in the Arctic, rain in North Temperate, rain in the Mediterranean, storm in North Monsoon, fair in South Monsoon, and fair in South Temperate. The impulse marker will move up 2. And there's a +1 to the weather rule for next turn. So I'm going to get that all recorded. And I don't know what the Italians are going to do at this point, but what is it? The rain in the Mediterranean won't affect desert operations. So they still can do something. All right, so I'm going to get the reinforcements on the map, and this all recorded and put down, and we'll come back with the first set of impulses. Okay, so this is the first impulse for the fascists. The Italians took a land. The Germans took a naval, and they went hog wild on the naval action. There will be no action whatsoever in the Asian theater because it's storm and rain, and they'd forget it. And Japan already moved what she needed to do last turn, and the Chinese are fine where they are. So we'll probably not even go over to Asia unless the weather changes. All right, so first things up, we have a ground assault here. Not a ground assault, ground assault, yeah. So we got 2 factors. It's a surprise turn, so they're going to be 2 dice each. We got a 2-4 territorial and a 7-3 infantry corps. So we're going to roll the 2 dice for the 7-3 first. And you got a big giant 0 on that. And then on the territorial, okay, the territorial will be flipped over. Alright. Okay, oops, actually goes here. This is going to be 2 to 1. We'll use HQ benefits. So it's going to be a +1, +2. We all have armor. So that's going to be a +3. 2 to 1 on the Blitzkrieg table, +3. Alright. Let's see what we get. Big attack for the Italians. Maybe they'll choke. Who knows? Oh, they just loved it. That's going to be a 4. That's 1-1. How do you like that for the Italians, huh? So obviously the Commonwealth is going to lose their territorial. The Egyptian territorial. And the Italians got to lose 1. And I guess it's going to be the 3-3. That was a big whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We also have a potential naval battle, or actually it's going to be a convoy raid against the convoys in the... Oh, these guys got to flip over. Wow, I can't believe that the Italians just choke like that. That is just tremendous. Alright. Goes home. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, we have a potential convoy interdiction here, naval battle. So we're going to roll search dice. It is raining. Let's see. 4 is not going to do it. Oh, actually it might. I got to look that up. Okay, that indeed was a no effect because of the rain. If it hadn't have been raining, then the Italians would have found those convoy points and probably sank a couple of them. Alright, too bad for that. Now we got the potential convoy raiding here. The main part of the Kriegsmarine decided to come out and play. Let's roll search dice. Well, I don't think that's really going to do it. I think that's a 5 and a 9. Again, we're in bad weather, or rain rather. I gotta check the German fleet. Nope, they have no combat air groups with a range of 4, so there's no modifier. There is 3, 9. There's 6 convoy points there. So that would give a +1, so that would be the 4 search box. This does something. I gotta figure that out. Okay, so that was a no-go. And now up at the Faros Gap, we got a lot of U-boats and a couple of cruisers. Let's see what we get. 4 and a 3. Well, the Commonwealth obviously don't find anything, but I think all those U-boats and auxiliary cruisers found something, because that's a 4. It's -1 for the rain. You got 9, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 convoy points. That's a wash. Yeah, 1 sub found them. 1 sub found them. So we got a 1 sub combat up here. Surprise points are 4 or 3. That's 6. 2 surprise points. I don't think we'll engage. Alright, now let's try the North Atlantic. That's going to be nothing there either. So it was a big giant nothing. This turn was a giant nothing. And yeah, we can flip that one instead. And I'll flip one of the ships in the... Actually, you know what? I can flip this one. All right. And that was that. And that was that for the Fascist Impulse, a big giant nothing. And now we'll move on to the Communists and the Democracies. I'll probably come back with the Democracies. I'm sure the Commonwealth is going to respond to this rather aggressive German action. I was wrong. The Germans actually did find the Commonwealth, those die rolls. The 4-box will be able to engage, but not the 2-box. So that's going to be a total of 8 surface points against 6 surface points, with the Germans having 2 surprise points. So they're going to, there's a total of 4 ships. They're going to move the Commonwealth down into the 3 to 5 box, 3 to 5 column. So the Commonwealth will get 2 aborts. And the Germans will get 1 damage and 2 aborts. So Germans go first. Let's see, they're going to pick the Frobisher to damage. Okay, so that's a 7. So the Commonwealth rolled the save, and they don't. It goes into the repair pool. Let's see, now the Commonwealth they'll pick this one for an abort. It does not abort. It gets a half an abort. And in the last abort, will this be this one? It doesn't abort either. They both get half aborts. So they are still in it. So the Commonwealth got 2 aborts. So they'll try to get rid of the blue guy. That's a 6. It does abort, so it's going to go home. And the last abort will be against the Nuremberg. It aborts as well. Wow, the Commonwealth is just... The fascists are just choking big time this turn. All right, well, that's the end of that. I think the Germans will abort after that. They'll just go home. That's really horrible. That's really horrible. Alright, so that was the end of the big giant naval action for that turn. We damaged 1 cruiser. Wow. Alright, now we'll move on to the Communist Impulse. I don't see them doing anything. Moving a few infantry units around, maybe. And then the Democracies, and I'll be back with their response. And, excuse me, the Commonwealth has indeed responded to the Kriegsmarine sailing out. They put a bunch of cruisers up in the Faroes Gap, as well as sorting both the Mediterranean fleet based at Gibraltar and the home fleet based at Belfast into the Cape St. Vincent sea boxes. So all we have to do is roll to see if anybody finds anybody. Alright, for Cape St. Vincent, well, we did a search, and the fascists got a 1, and the Commonwealth got a 9. So, I'm going to figure that out. I think the fascists are probably going to engage something at this point. But, let me figure it out, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I did all the math. The Germans are going to net out 8 surprise points after picking a surface action. And it's going to be, I think they're going to engage the Commonwealth's Mediterranean fleet, which is this group here. And the German fleet is here. These guys, the 2 carriers are there as well, but they're going to be screened. And we come up to be 55 surface points for the Germans with 16 ships, and 46 surface points for the Commonwealth with 15 ships. They're going to use all their surprise points to move the Commonwealth's damage down. So we're going to end up with 1 potentially sunk and 1 aborted for the Commonwealth. And we're going to have 3 sunk and 2 damaged for the, actually 1 sunk and 1 aborted for the Germans, 3 sunk, 2 damaged for the Commonwealth. I think that's what that is. Let me double check. 15 ships, yes. 3 and 2. Okay. So this is just dice rolls at this point. So we'll do the Germans first. Doesn't really matter, it's all simultaneous. So the Commonwealth will pick 1 ship to potentially sink. I think they're going to go for the Gneisenau. Yeah. We're going to try the Gneisenau. It's a 3. It's going to be tough. And the Germans saved it. So it's going to be damaged. So it's going to go to the repair pool. And at least, as far as the Commonwealth's concerned, it's gone for 2 turns minimum. Now there's 1 aborted. Alright, let's get rid of this thing. This is helping the Germans too much. So that's a 10. That's automatically aborted. It's going to go home. And that's it for them. Now we got 3 sunk and 2 damaged that the Germans inflicted. The carrier is screened. So let's go for... Let's try and sink the Revenge. We'll go for a sunk on the Revenge. That's a 4. So 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's sunk. Where's my Commonwealth dice? Right here. Alright, got to get greater than a 4 to just be damaged. And no, he's actually going to go to the bottom. Now the Commonwealth gets to pick 1 to be potentially sunk. They don't want to lose any more battleships, so let's take this rather inexpensive cruiser. We'll roll for that. That's an 8. Watch it save. It doesn't. It's gone. And the last sunky sunk. Let's try the big bad boy here. The Rodney. That's a 2. Commonwealth rolls a 1 or a 2. The Rodney sinks. And it's sunk. Whoa! I guess the Tirpitz got the range on that guy. Now we got 2 damages. We'll damage a cruiser. That's a 6. Yep, it is damaged. So it's going to be, I'm just going to put it like this, because now the Germans can pick, and they're going to pick the same cruiser. Now the 6 becomes a 7, because it's damaged, and it's sunk. So, as the German player, do you do another round, or do you just call it good? I think we'll abort. I think we're going to call that good. I think we made out pretty good on that deal, and Germans are pretty happy with that. They'll leave it that way. Now, this is actually the Democrats' turn. They got hosed on their own battle they wanted to initiate. But that's what happens, you know. It's like the Japanese tried to initiate Midway. Look how that turned out for them. All right. We're going to do some search rolling here. We want to get them stupid Swedish cruisers and sink them. So we'll do some search rolling. Paratens, no, sorry. Nobody found anybody with that. In fact, they should all go home after rolling something like that. Okay, so that's going to do it for the Commonwealth. And I think the other, I think the Free French are good where they are right now. They got 1 free move. They're going to put a ship out in the Eastern Mediterranean. That's all they're going to do for now. They get 1 free oil move. Okay. The other 2 things I wanted to mention is that during the fascist impulse, the Italians aligned or minor joined. They played reactively minor joins in on Hungary. And at the same time, during the democracy's first impulse, which is this one right now, the Commonwealth played minor joins in reactively and had Iraq aligned and come and enter the war. So I've already taken care of all the paperwork for that. All right, so we're gonna go back to the fascists. They're gonna roll weather. Let's see what we get for a weather die. A 6. I don't really. That's a +1, so it's gonna be a 7. A 7. Okay, it's not really much better. Rain, fair Mediterranean. So the Mediterranean goes into fair weather. There'd be no modifier for the next turn. The impulse marker will move up 1. And it's going, impulse marker still moves up 2. For rain and north monsoon, fair. So other than the Mediterranean, the bad weather continues. And I'll take a look at what the Italians might want to do. They just basically killed most of their army without, well, they didn't kill it, but it ain't going to do anything. And I'll go from there. Okay, the Italians are getting into the convoy action. We got a potential convoy raid here. Roll search dice, and no, sorry. Italians couldn't find anything. And they're going to try to engage that French ship. Trying to get it out of the lights. Okay, the French ship over there in the Eastern Mediterranean. And they do succeed. They succeed with a 1 and an 8. That was probably a mistake putting that out there, but thought maybe they could get a chance to do something. But alright, so we got 2 factors for the French, and I think they're just going to be sunk. I think I'll just, rather than figure it out, there's like 50 factors there. Let's see what we got. Plus you're going to have 8 or 10 surprise points. Alright, they're going to get a chance to abort something. So the French are going to try to abort the Carrio Duilio. So not the Andrea Doria. They're going to try to abort that. So we'll roll that. That's a 5. And indeed, it is aborted. So the Andrea Doria is heading home. Aborted. And now that's a sunk. So the, let's see, oh, that, actually 1 ship. It's going to be sunk in 2 damages. Sunk in 2 damages. It's going to be sunk because if it saves, yeah, it could actually potentially save. I guess if you roll enough dice well enough. So the first save is a 7, and it don't. Sorry, French ship going down. Going down. Sorry. Oh well. So that's the end of that. I think that's the end of the fascist impulse. I'm going to move forward with the communists and the Democrats and come back with a summary of them. And we still got U-boats looking in Pharos Gap, so we'll do search rolls. 4 and a 3. Well, the Commonwealth found us. Actually, everybody found everybody. Specifically, these cruisers found these 2 groups. And these 2 groups found... Actually, these cruisers did not find these 2 groups. They rolled a 3. Actually, the Commonwealth didn't find anybody. But they did. So I gotta figure that out. So here's what we got. We got the Commonwealth. These cruisers did indeed find the Germans. They found either or both groups. The Germans, these guys did find them. So, the Commonwealth is going to pick See, they don't have enough points to pick a sub action. I mean, a air action. They don't have any air units, anyways. So they're going to pick. It's going to be a surface action. I guess it's going to be these cruisers against all of these. I guess. Because these are not included with those, but those can be included with this. Anyways, that's what I'm going to do. Then the Commonwealth has 2 surprise factors. 2 surprise points. The U-boats will be used for surface action. So these are both available now. But anyways, they are included in the combat. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 to 5. Then you got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 6 to 3. So the Commonwealth, with their 5 surface factors, is going to. They got 2 surprise points, so they're going to move up 1 column. They're going to do 2 damages and 3 aborts on the Germans. 2 damages and 3 aborts. That's pretty much going to take care of almost everything. Well, not quite. 2 damages. So the Commonwealth will pick this cruiser to damage. Germans will roll. Need a 7. And nope, it's damaged. Now we got another damage to allocate. The Germans will pick this U-boat right here to damage. That's a 9. It is damaged. And then now we got 3 aborts. The Commonwealth will pick this cruiser to abort. It is half aborted. The Germans will pick this sub to abort. Actually, they're going to pick the damaged sub to abort. And it is indeed aborted. And it's damaged. It's going to go to the repair pool. And the last abort, the Commonwealth will pick this. Make sure it gets aborted, and it's gone. 2 half aborts is an abort. So it's going to go back to its part and be done. Now the Germans, I did that backwards. Oh no. 1 damage. The Commonwealth should have had 1 damage. Not all those aborts and stuff. That's what the fascists are going to be doing. So we'll say they damaged that sub. Now, against the Commonwealth, we have 2 damages and 3 aborts. Now we got it correct. Okay, the first damage going on this guy. And he's not. He's just aborted. I'm going to flip him over. Second damage, the Commonwealth will pick this. And that is damaged. It will go to the repair pool. 3 aborts. We'll abort this guy. And he's a gone. And the other one's going to get at least 2 half aborts, so they're going to both be aborted. So that's the end of that. Now we roll for a second round. Actually, the opposing player can roll for our second round. And we're still on the fascists anyway. So 3 and a 6. So it looks like the U-boats are going to get their turn at the convoys after all. So that's a 3. That includes this box. So we're going to figure that out. Okay, the Commonwealth is going to end up with 1 abort after the surprise points moved them down to the 0-1 box. So they're going to try and abort one of those subs, I think this big sub right here, that's a 9. And he is aborted, so he's going to go home. The Germans have 1 sunk, 1 damaged. So they're going to pick 3 convoy points to sink. Put 4 back there. And then 1 damage. We'll go after the Commonwealth. Will throw out a cruiser. The 1-8 guy here. That's 8, and he is damaged. So he will be going to the repair pool. And that's it. Roll dice. See if we have another round. This guy's gone. Roll dice again. And that time it was a failure. So there will be no more combat in that zone. And this is actually, yeah, this is the Commonwealth's turn. Okay, let's move over here. The Commonwealth is trying to find the Italian Navy and do some bad damage to it. So they moved out, and the Free French used their free oil move to send a ship with them. So let's roll search dice. An 8 and a 5. The fascists didn't find anything, because the highest is a 3 with the nav. They're all basically in a 3. But the 8 is way beyond, and they don't find anything. So there is no naval battle in that sea zone. Alright, I'll come back in a few seconds. I think we will be back to the fascists and rolling weather. Oh no, actually, this is a potential to end the turn right now. The Democrats need a 1, and they will end the turn. 6 doesn't do it. Alright, we'll roll weather. The weather roll is a 6. It's the same weather. No. Yes, it's the same weather. Rain. No, it's not the same weather. It's rain, fair, fair, rain, fair, fair. Fair, fair. Rain, fair, fair. No modifier. The impulse marker still moves up too. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Okay, the Italians are conducting an amphibious assault on Malta. So, if you figured it out, Malta's out of supply. There's nothing defending it except the notional, which is a -1 for supply, which is a 0. However, the amphibious assault's coming from the 2 box, which adds 1, so that's a 1. We have 6 attacking factors plus 6 bombardment. That's 12 to 1. Malta falls. Okay. I think that's it for that. We can try doing a search up here. See if that will result in some more combat. I'm sure the Commonwealth will be excited by that. Nope, nothing. I don't know why she got the furnace on. Nothing there. And then the fascists are done. So we're going to roll a... no, the fascists are not done. I forgot. We got an air raid in London. Let me set that up. Okay, it looks very similar to last turn. Because, well, it is. I don't think the force mix has changed at all. So we got... I need 2 more dice. Here we go. We got 5.7 versus 4.7, which is going to be the +1, -1 chart on air combat. And the Commonwealth will roll first on the +1. And they get a 15, which is not a bad roll. 15. 15. A Attacker abort. Attacker aborts, defenders, front fighter, or bomber. Well, we'd definitely get rid of the fighter. Alright, now the defender, which now becomes the attacker, which is a fascist, will roll and reply on the -1. They roll the same result, a 15. Defender abort. Defender aborts own front fighter or front bomber. In this case, this guy's got to get aborted. Round 2. Round 2, we got, now it's going to be on the 0, because it's 4.3 versus 4.3. The Commonwealth roll first. They roll a 14, not bad, on the 0. Defender abort. Defender aborts on front fighter or front bomber. We're going to abort our front fighter. It's going to get bad fast. Alright, and now the fascists will reply. They get the worst possible result, an 11, which is the defender clears through, they don't have any bombers. So we'll go to the next round. Now we're on 4.3 to 3, which is going to be +1, -1. +1 for the Commonwealth. They roll a 13. 13 is a blank. And for the fascists, they get a 16 on the -1. Attacker abort. So, attacker abort will abort this fighter. Now we're down to 3 to 3. An atrocious battle. What the bombing result will be nothing. 3 to 3 on the 0 and the 20. I think that's going to kill the plane and the pilot, and indeed it does. So this plane and pilot is now dead. And he's probably going to get scrapped. And now the Germans reply. They're going to roll an 11. Oh, I was close. They rolled a 10. 10. Defender clears through. Anyone bomber? I think we're going to abort the bombing mission. I don't really want to lose some bombers over this. That was hellacious. Lost a fighter for no effect. It's pretty bad. Actually, these are all flipped over. These are flipped over. I don't know. Okay, he's here. He's here. And he's in London. Alright, so that was a big no effect for the Germans. You obviously see they need more fighters. And the last thing the fascists are going to do is roll to see if they end the turn. They're at a 2 now. And a 4 doesn't do it. Alright, we're going to move on to the communists and then the democracies. Alright, I just rolled for partisans. I got a 10. France was a possible, but I rolled really high, so nothing there. And South Africa was a possible, and again rolled really high, so nothing there. Now we're going to do U.S. entry. So we got white will be the Italians, red are the Germans. White are the Italians with a 2. Yeah, now we can see it. The Italians are going to be a -1, because I know what that one is. And now we got +1, +2, that's a 4. 4 is a -1. No, I'm sorry. 4 is a 0, not a -1. There are 2 other major powers at war with the democracy, so now there's a +2 to the die roll. Germany gets a +2, +3, so that's a 7. And +3, 39. Yeah, +3. So it's 7 is going to be a +1 for the Germans. And Japan gets a 2. They're going to have a 4. And then another 3 will be 7. That'll be a +1 for Japan. U.S. ain't close to declaring war yet, but she's got to get her finger out of her butt and start doing some of these U.S. entry actions. There was a couple of turns that I did I tried to do multiple actions by the U.S., but they just failed. They don't quite have a lot of money yet, and it's hard for them to try to get multiple actions at this point. But I think starting next turn, we're going to see some U.S. entry action. I think the U.S. is going to bid, and they're going to get a turn. They're in the first position, so they're going to bid, and they're going to be able to get at least one action, I would say. Anyway, I'm going to do production. I'll come back and do a summary of that. Oh, and the turn ended on the communist impulse. So the Democrats marker moved up into the +1 for initiative modifier. So they'll now have a +1 on initiative. So that's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to do production. I'll come back and give a summary of that in a few seconds. Okay, going over production for this turn. We had Germany producing 31. Started with 22 and excuse me, spent 22. Japan produced 18, started with 13 and spent 13. The Italians got a bunch of stuff lend-leased from Germany. No, not lend-lease. Anyways, the German give them, well, I guess it is lend-lease. They give them 5 resources. So they had a production of 12, which is 13 for the cadre. Started with 2 and spent 3. The Soviets started with 15, produced 15, started with 12 and spent 12. The Commonwealth is got 19 with the 4 lend-lease from the United States. Started with 8 and spent 8. The U.S. has 15 after giving away 5 lend-lease. Started with 13 and spent 13. China got 1 lend-lease. Produced 4, started with 4 and spent 3. Free France produced 1, started at -1 and spent 6. So that's going to wrap up production, and I'm going to get these on the circle, and that'll do it for this turn. I'd like to thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. I enjoy all that stuff, and I will see you next time.